Anarchism is the political theory that advocates for the abolition of the state. Anarchy stems from the Greek word anarchos, which means without a chief. Michael Bakunin is a Russian anarchist who lived from 1816 to 1876. He helped lay a foundation for anarchism and was monumental to this ideology. Bakunin was imprisoned for inspiring revolutions through his influence, and he was sentenced to death 3 different times. He escaped imprisonment and fled to the United States. Bakunin stood on the argument that there should be no state at all. In fact, Bakunin said that he is a, quote, enemy of the state and form of any statehood. He then elaborates on his conviction further by stating that people can only be free and happy once they have broken away from the state. He thinks that the state by nature stands above and outside of the people and therefore oppresses them. Kropotkin is another anarchist from our last module. I believe that Bakunin and Kropotkin share the same view on human nature. They both have said our nature is one of mutual aid and assistance to one another, and therefore a state of nature is better than a centralized power. In the particular passage called Science and the People, Bakunin focuses on the effect of science in society. Back in those days, science was not accessible like it is today. Only the elites had the knowledge of the sciences, and this upset Bakunin. He correlated this knowledge to the power to rule in society. What he advocated for is science being used to empower the working class, and fundamental to his opposition of government, he believed that society should run on scientific fact and not abstract ideas. I disagree with Bakunin in his opposition to the state, but I agree with his view on science. I think that the state is a great thing for humanity and is justified. The state provides us with protection against others, it keeps us in check, and it gives us opportunities to create the best possible life. If the values of society prioritize the people, then the state is justified. There's a reason why people always organize into societies. I don't, however, agree that humans need a state to the extent that Hobbes argues. I do acknowledge that when corrupt people get power, the results can be catastrophic. So the systems within the state should be set up to protect the people from a tyrant. This leads me to understand the thought behind anarchism. Bakunin makes a great point when he says the state is above the people so it can enforce the rules. I do agree that the state must have the power to enforce the rules, which is not always a bad thing. It becomes bad when corrupt people get this power. The idea of people being free from any centralized power might sound good on paper, but does not work. Another good idea from Bakunin is that science should be used to liberate people. Although science is much more advanced today than it was in the 1800s, we can still take the same principles away from his argument. Regardless of what it is, I don't think people should be entitled to certain powers because they are in the ruling class of society.